Hello, welcome back for Calculator Skill 3. Hopefully you've already been through 1 and 2. If you haven't mastered both of those yet, you'll need to go back and do that. Calculator Skill 1 is recognizable by an equation in the problem or an expression, or an equation and expression in the answer choice. Okay, you're going to have an equation or expression in both places. And your goal is to find out or type both expressions in the graph to make sure they overlap. If they overlap, they're the same thing. They equal each other, which is a key word you'll see: equivalent, rewrite, or represent. Next, calculator skill number 2 is recognizable by somewhere in the problem is a table and somewhere is an equation. So either the problem has a table and the answer choices are equations or expressions, or the problem has an equation or expression and the answer choices are tables or a set of points. Could be a pattern or sequence. So you could have to create that table from the pattern or sequence. And in the calculator, you're just going to match the table to the equation. Menu, trace, graph trace. So today we're going to talk about calculator skill 3. And we're going to have a table again. So just like calculator skill 2, we're going to have a table. But the difference is this time there's no equation anywhere. Okay, when there's an equation, you just type in the equation in the graph and go and match the table. But when there's a table but no equation, that's when we have to use calculator skill 3, which is running a regression. Some keywords: rate of change, slope. If the question is asking you to find the rate of change or slope, you're going to see the word linear, quadratic, or exponential. So we'll get into that a little bit right here. So example 1. Pretty basic, says, what is the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points? So it gave you 2 points. So that's like giving you a table. Now, you know from class you could graph these and then do rise over run, or you could put them into the formula, or you can put them into the calculator. So here's the new calculator skill. You're going to go to Home, New Document, Save Changes, No. This time we're going to add a list and spreadsheets. Okay, we're going to add a list and spreadsheets. And then we're going to come up here to the top. And this is the part that most of you forget. And since you're not at school practicing, most of you, this is something we'll definitely have to practice the week before when y'all come in. But X and Y. So you need an X here and a Y. Then you just type in your table: 26, 7, minus 39. Again, we're using the minus key, not the negative, and 12. Then make sure the blue box is outside the set of data, right below it. Don't make sure it's not on it. Make sure it's below it. And then we're going to do a calculator sequence: menu, statistics, stat calculations, and then linear regression, because slope is a line. Mx plus b, y equals mx plus b, and then we click enter. Okay, then we tell the calculator that in list X, in that first column, we called it X. And then in the second column, we called it Y. And then you have to use your touchpad nice and lightly to get the little arrow. And then you'll click OK down here. But before I click OK, I just want to talk about what this means right here. It says save the regression equation. So this calculator is going to create a line, an equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. And it's also going to put it in the graph for us. And so this is a good method to do that by. So when I click OK, right here's my linear regression. If I look, here's M, and M represents my slope. So this wants to know the slope. So there's my answer: negative 0.07, negative 0.0769. Then my answer choices are fractions, so I just come over here to the calculate part. I'm going to type my answer choice in, which is negative. Oops. Now, this is the one case where I talked about that your calculator doesn't like you using this minus key. When you're in the calculate and your first number or first thing to put in is a negative, this is the only time you use this button. Okay, if you don't, then it thinks you're subtracting the answer that you got before on the previous problem. So this is the only time that if we're going to start with a negative, that we use this little negative button. All the rest of the times you use this minus key. Then control divide, 1 over 13. And I like to turn it into a decimal just by hitting a decimal point, enter, and that matches. So that's the correct answer, negative 0.769. So there would be my answer. Okay, now usually I only do one example. I'm going to do a couple examples because I know it's a lot of steps in the calculator. And I want you to see some different formats that the questions come in. So first of all, they can give you a set of points asking for the slope. Next, they can give you a line and they give you 2 points on that line. Now, they also could not give you these 2 points. All right, and then you have to find the 2 points. And again, it's asking for slope. And if you have to find 2 points, you have to look where it crosses the crosshairs, okay, where it crosses the crosshairs of the graph, and you pick a good point. This one's in crosshairs and that one's in the crosshairs. And then you can always just go rise and run to get the answer. But you can also use a calculator to double check yourself. So again, home, new document, save changes, no. We're starting over, new problem. Add lists and spreadsheets. Come up next to A, I have to type, this is the X column. And then you have to go over here to B and type, this is the Y column. Then you come down and you type your 2 points in. Negative 2 and 7 and 6 and 1. Once you have 2 points, menu, statistics, stat calculation. Some of you learned in middle school maybe menu 4-1. And that's okay because it's still the same. But if they ever update the calculator and change something, the numbers could change. So I always say the words menu, statistics, stat calculations, and then linear regression. Okay, again, this is the X column. This is the Y column. And it's putting it in the graph, which we're going to use that later. But for now, we don't really need it. And then right here is my M, negative 0.75. Negative 0.75. There's the answer. Okay, so it comes right out of the calculator. It gives me the equation, mx plus b. Here's the m, and here's the b, and here's the r value if we're talking about a correlation, which is another subject as well. Okay, next. So again, they gave me 2 points, asked me for the slope. They gave me 2 points, but it was on a graph and asked me for the slope. And they could have not given me these points, and I have to find 2 points. Okay, and then lastly, here's a table, and this time it's asking for rate of change. Again, remember, rate of change simply means find the slope. Those mean exactly the same thing. So this time it's in a table form. Home, new document, save changes, no. Add a list and spreadsheets. Up here, type X. Up here, type Y. And then you type in your table. Move that over a bit. And it's for 1, 4, 22, 3, and 18. Enter. Again, my blue squares outside of my data set. Menu, statistics, stat calculations. Again, it's asking me for slope. Slope is always a line, so that's a linear regression. This is the X. We called that one X, and we called that one Y. Click OK. And here's my M. My slope, or my rate of change, is 5. So correct answer is J. before I give you your own example, I would like to show you on Desmos how to do this skill, because it is quite a bit different than the calculator. And since some of you are still using Desmos, let's look at it. First of all, to add a table, you just click the plus sign and you add a table in, so you can type the table. Again, you can know Desmos, but the most important is that you know the calculator for the purpose of the STAR test. So here you're going to type Y, then the number 1, and it gives you that little subscript 1. Then you have to hit the tilde button, which is Shift and the button to the left of number 1. And so that gives you a little tilde mark. Then you're going to type MX, and then right after X, you're typing 1, and it gives you the subscript of 1, and then plus B. So you're really typing Y equals MX plus B, but you have to have Y1 and X1 because this column is called X1 and Y1. So that we're labeling this X1 and Y1. And then down here is the slope. There's the answer, the 5. Here's one for you to try on your own. You'll have to look at the screen in order to get the problem. You should have went home, new document, save changes. You go to list and spreadsheet. Should have typed X and Y, 5 and 8, 7 and 14, 9, oh, on the wrong side there, 9 and 20. Here's my blue mark, menu, statistics, stat calculations, and number 4. We call this X, we call this Y, click OK. So M is equal to 3. And so 3 is my answer.